Now I would like to call Heidi, the author of the World Genocide, to say a few words. Thank you so much, Heidi, for coming.
Thank you so much, Mirza, for inviting me. I live in London, and when I was in Toronto in 2020, I met Karen Goldenberg from Project Abraham. We had a chat about the work they were doing helping to integrate the Yazidi community. And through her, I met Paulette Fulgazy, who took me to Richmond Hill to meet the women she was helping. They told me their stories, and it resonated for Paulette, who had been born in the former Nazi concentration camp of Bergen-Belsen. I found that arc of one genocide to another poignant and profound, the antithesis of the philosophy of ISIS or the Nazis or any other perpetrator. It was the genesis of my book, Genocide, Personal Stories, Big Questions, which looks at 20th and 21st century genocide, and the Yazidis have a very large part. Since I was an adolescent, I have always had an interest in genocide, which started with my first trip to Germany. The article I wrote about Paulette and the Yazidi women turned into a book, and one thing was clear. While all genocides are unique, they all share many similarities. Those similarities start with hate and othering, of difference, of turning one group into subhumans who have no rights, and enables friends and family to turn into murderers. Look at the Yazidis, the Armenians, the Jews. One group deems itself superior and the other inferior. That idea exists in every genocide, that one community not only has less value, but also must be exterminated to rid the country of the problem, these vermin, cockroaches, these subhumans. As a result, they can be used as slaves and exterminated at will. ISIS had slave markets, so did the Nazis. We have genocides occurring in Nigeria and Sudan, and with the 10th anniversary of the Yazidi genocide tomorrow, the trauma and the wounds are still fresh, with women and girls missing and the fracturing of the community by ISIS. I remember when I was at an event in London, an ex-BBC producer asked me what I was doing. I told her I was writing a book about genocide. She said she wasn't interested because she wasn't Jewish. As we know, you don't have to be Jewish. But when I met Paulette and the Yazidi survivors, it was Paulette's intro into the Holocaust that informed her lifelong philosophy to help people and to be good. And of course, that's not always the outcome, but that's what we want. And it's why I wrote the book. Because we watched in real time as the horrors unfurled on Mount Sinjar. How was it after World War II when we said never again? It was happening again. That is why we must keep telling the stories and try to educate people. It's a difficult topic, and people would rather ignore it. Ben Ferrance was the youngest prosecutor at the Nuremberg trials after World War II. He was about 5'2" and could barely see over the lectern, and at 27 didn't have much experience. But he was brilliant, an immigrant to the US who didn't learn to speak English until he was 8. In his research that he did trying to prosecute the Nazis, he said that he had peered into hell. But his message until the day he died at 103 was never give up. And that's the mantra we need until genocide is no longer a part of the scourge of the world.